The night of the gala, my father arrived with Tiffany on his arm. She looked stunning and completely disinterested, checking her phone while he tried to shake hands with board members who were suddenly very busy looking at their programs. The Lifetime Achievement Award wasn't cancelled. That would have been too loud. Instead, the narrative simply shifted. A week prior, I had quietly shared the documentation of his financial restructuring, the drained college funds, the commingled accounts, with the firm's ethics committee. I didn't frame it as a grievance. I framed it as a discrepancy I found while settling my own taxes. When he walked up to the podium, the applause was polite, thin, and brief. The keynote speaker, a man who had known my mother for decades, didn't talk about my father's devotion to family. He talked about the importance of integrity when no one is watching. During the dinner, my mother walked in. She wasn't a guest. Marco was the guest of honor for his work on the new museum. She wore a deep emerald dress, her arm linked with Marco's. She looked radiant, youthful, and entirely indifferent to my father's existence. My father spent the entire night trying to catch her eye. He wanted to see a flicker of hurt, a spark of the old jealousy he used to feed on. He got nothing. When they finally crossed paths near the bar, my father puffed out his chest. "You look well, Elena," he said, his voice straining for its old authority. She smiled at him, the kind of smile you give a distant acquaintance whose name you've nearly forgotten. "Thank you, David. I've never been better." She didn't ask about his wife. She didn't ask about the baby. She turned back to Marco, who kissed her hand and led her toward the dance floor. The final blow didn't come from my mother, though. It came from Tiffany. As the night wore on and the prestigious crowd ignored them, Tiffany's frustration boiled over. "This is it," she hissed, loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear. "I spent 4 hours getting ready for a room full of people who think you're a joke. You said this award would open doors, David. All I see is a room full of people waiting for you to retire." He shrank. He literally seemed to get smaller in his tuxedo. He lost his partnership at the firm a month later, a voluntary transition following the audit results. He currently lives in a condo half the size of his old house. Tiffany left him when the Range Rover was repossessed, taking the child and moving back in with her parents. I saw him last week. He tried to complain about how cruel life had been to him, how Marco had stolen his place. I didn't argue. I didn't point out that he had walked away from that place willingly. "I'm sorry you feel that way, Dad," I said, checking my watch. "I have to go. Marco and Mom are hosting Sunday dinner, and I promised to bring the wine." I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. I stopped checking his name in the news. That was how I knew it worked.